Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
Oh, there's no Dave.
Yeah.
I was going to do this. This might have been funny. Let's do this one more time, guys. I'm going to try this on the spot, see how it sounds. Okay. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
And I'm Dave. Evil Dave, all the way from the Hollow Earth. Stupid.
I was trying not to laugh because my microphone will laugh like that.
Yes, Dave's not with us. He did send us a message like, sorry, guys, he's got a busy weekend.
Yeah.
He said, I will be listening to you from the Hollow Earth. Now, when Dave says he has a busy weekend, we're recording on St. Patty's Day weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
of course, he is in the Hollow Earth
We
drinking
know
green beers with the goblins.
What
Yeah.
busy means, sure.
I think this is going to be a really fun show. We're going to talk about the Missouri Monster.
MoMo.
Mama.
Yeah, a.k.a. Do it again. Sound like
MoMo.
sound like the beginning of a song. Boom, 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 boom.
That's right.
Momo.
MoMo.
Get over here.
You didn't like mine? It was like high pitched, like Momo. Momo.
Yeah. I like it sounds more like a seductive song.
And MoMo.
Yeah.
Get that champagne.
Oh, yeah.
Momo.
Coming to your line with MoMo.
Ooh, we digress.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun show. Missouri Monster. We got some listener feedback and we have some listener stories. So it should be an awesome kick butt time.
Is that phrase brought to you by Funk Brewing here?
Yeah, kick butt. We're going to kick things off with some listener feedback brought to you by Living Among Bigfoot, the only book series that drops the 15th of every month that talks about Bigfoot. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Just like to say hi to Big T, the author. You're awesome.
Yes.
Lish, and I assume the latest installment is...
Oh, it's good.
All right.
The classic review.
Yeah.
Best book reviews ever
No.
over here at Paranormal Puncher.
That's right. The best book review on Paranormal Punchers ever.
Let's kick things off with, hey, Cody. He sent us a message. Cody actually messaged us before. He said if we ever out on the West Coast, we can connect and have a beer with him.
Definitely. That's fantastic.
But he said, I told my wife about your podcast, and now she is hooked.
Oh.
We are taking a family trip to Tombstone, Arizona.
Oh, all right.
And if we have anything paranormal happen to us or get a picture or anything paranormal, we'll definitely share with you guys. Keep up the good work.
Oh.
Have
Cody,
fun.
please do. If anything weird happens,
Yeah.
let us know right away. And it's great that you're going to Tombstone, Arizona, because that's going to pop up on the second half of the show. We have a Tombstone, Arizona story.
We do.
And at the end of the show, there might be an announcement about what we're going to talk about next. So, anyway, we also heard from Lady_Achieve, Lady Achieve on Instagram. Amazing per usual. I doubt if that's how she said it. When I know it's about time for a new episode, I check the website like 3 times a day. Also, I never heard someone else tell my story. I legit got chills listening to you read it. Yikes. That would be the story you read on last episode.
Yeah.
Right on.
Lady Achieve.
It's underachieve.
Yeah, but,
It's an underscore. Lady underachieve.
well, I feel like she's going to show up and kick your butt.
That could be. That could be. Well, that's what it says.
Lady Achieve, it's okay. Yeah, you can come here and put him in a chokehold.
Right.
Yeah, that's
They
cool.
probably deserve it. That's okay.
We heard from Jacob on Twitter. His handle is at Real Big Kong.
Nice.
He says, hey, guy, I just started watching Hellier doc on Prime, and I have an issue with the blindfolded guy rubbing the antenna. And that's where I'm going to leave it.
Wow. That could be taken all kinds of
Jacob,
ways.
yeah, we did too.
I know.
And we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We heard from Summer. Hey, Pea Punchers. Love the podcast. Just wanted to tell you about the Michigan Dog Man. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but in Michigan, we got some werewolves roaming around here. We call it the Michigan Dog Man. And I thought it'd be a super cool episode to hear about. The earliest sighting of the Dog Man was in like 1887, and more keep coming since then. There's even some pictures, too, if you're interested. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. Send them.
I love werewolves. I mean, I don't know any personally.
Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. What?
How cool. Werewolves are cool.
They are cool. They're cool. They are very
At least in the movies. I never met one on the streets.
Yeah, I agree. I always thought if there was a paranormal creature or a supernatural creature I would want to be, I think I would go werewolf. Like I said, we said that before, where I could just turn into a wolf, run around.
Yeah.
You know, it's Saturday night, I'm hungry, I'd go for a jog, get turned into a werewolf, take off.
I mean, I would be the hawk. But I guess a werewolf is a second.
The hawk?
Hawk.
The Hulk.
Yeah, the hawk.
Like the Incredible Hulk.
Hawk.
The hawk.
The hawk.
Hulk.
No. The hawk.
Oh, gotcha.
The Incredible.
The big green guy.
Right. So
Gotcha.
That's still a transformation. Like werewolves is a transformation. You both rip off your clothes and lose your pants.
Whoa.
Well, not the hawk. He always keeps just enough. Just enough.
I'm going to leave that.
And if I was a werewolf, I would definitely have like my briefs would be like of a stretchy kind. So when I woofed out,
right,
and when I de-woofed, I'm still wearing something, so you can't get like arrested,
like spandex or something. So because they don't when they go Hulk, they don't go like 3 or 4 or 5 times bigger.
Right.
It's maybe like 1.5 or something like that.
Right.
So stretchy pants would do it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing in all these werewolf movies, though. When they transform, they wake up buck naked the next day.
That's right.
I feel like you got to be looking to Lycra. You know, make yourself a sweet. Because it also, if you were a werewolf and you had like really sweet Lycra underwear on, it might also look like your superhero outfit.
Yes,
like the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because he wears those short shorts. Yeah, the tight shorts, riding shorts.
Yeah, and we watched this show on Netflix called The Order, and in the show there was a group of werewolves called the Knights of St. Christopher.
Right.
And they were there to stop bad magic. They were actually the good guys.
They were the good guys, right.
Heck yeah, I'll be a werewolf.
But whenever they turned back, they're always naked.
Yeah.
Although there were some that turned back and they were still wearing their clothes. I had questions on that.
Yeah.
Some news.
Well, sometimes they would change back and all of a sudden have a robe on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I know they were editing and trying to probably be a little witty too, but yeah, it's all about the Lycra. You can transform into a wolf and then
just transfer back and be like, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'll go for a bike ride, put my tennies, and let's go.
We also heard from Kristen Rock Shimmy 90. And she said, saw a goblin in my backyard a few years ago.
What?
And of course, we were like, tell me the story.
Yeah.
And she said, I was in my backyard. It was the fall, and I have a small patch of woods in my yard. And there used to be a wood pile in the small patch. The small patch of woods. And I saw this naked, skinny being that looked like a gross version of Dobby and Gollum.
Huh.
He was so rail thin that I could see his ribs going up and down when he was breathing. His skin was gray, and he had huge ears like Dobby and huge eyes. He was on all fours looking for something in the pile. He noticed me, and he was more shocked to see me than I was to see him. And he vanished as quickly as I saw him, and I never saw him again.
Oh, my God.
Right. Because on the last episode, we were talking about Kentucky goblins.
Right.
Kristen Rock Shimmy looked out her back door, and there was a naked goblin.
Right.
What was he doing in the woodpile? And why was he naked?
Is she near, like, Kentucky? Is there any kind of indication that she was nearby?
You know what?
Was there any indication she was nearby?
Near Kentucky. Like, in Kentucky, near Kentucky. Did it follow along? Or or are there goblins running through the nation?
Well, they're cave systems.
They have cave systems, right.
Thanks for sharing that. We heard from Christina. As always, great show, y'all. I live in Kentucky and Tennessee. I lived in Kentucky and Tennessee for most of my life. And yes, there are tons of weird and strange things down there. And tell Dave I got a sword and plenty of gear. LOL. I'll go through the caves with him.
Nice. You would need to be in front because, well, Dave, well, he's...
No, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Christina's going to show up with all her gear.
Yeah.
Ready to explore the caves. And then Dave's going to be like, at the pub.
Yeah, I'll be there.
He's going to stand you up. He's going to be at the pub.
I'll be there tomorrow. I'm having a few drinks.
And then, of course, we'll be at the pub, too.
Yeah.
We heard from January Girl on Instagram, and that would be the awesome Kim Cote. Mm-hmm. We went up to see her and Dynamo up in Boston.
Yep.
But she dropped a little note here. Will you guys ever consider the Mothman?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I know.
we have talked about the Mothman. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Yeah, that's a very in-depth, and we have considered it. We have a feeling that we might not do it justice, but
Right.
we have talked
Or it
about
has to be a big,
Yeah.
long episode.
Right, because there's
It's on the table still.
Yes.
But like we feel like we need to really give it justice.
do our homework and
Yeah.
really not be drunk, or maybe you do be drunk. Who knows? Whatever works out best for our flow.
But we do have a Mothman story for the second half of the show.
Okay.
That a listener sent in. So,
Right on.
January Girl, you're awesome. I can't wait till we see you and Dynamo again.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well. We heard from Jonathan. He said, "Hi, Paranormal Punchers. I just started your podcast today, and I love it. Perfect thing for me to listen during work. Makes it go so much quicker. But anyways, I immediately wanted a shirt, but we didn't have his size. So I told him, like, dude, all right, go over to our T Public store.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can get any size, and you can get different colors. It's just a really great way for us to be able to, have some cool shirts for everybody, where we don't have to carry every single size and
Right.
every
Right.
single color. 'Cause
Right.
I can't afford that. But yeah, so he's going to check that out. But he did say he was going to get the comic book too. So Jonathan,
yay.
I'm glad you found the show. I hope you get the comic book and really dig it. Mm-hmm. And I'm really curious, like, if he just discovered the show today, did he start at episode
1? Or do you
the
start?
last or the first? Because it would really make a difference.
Yeah.
Because we were a
Yeah.
little rough in the beginning,
Yeah, I know.
and we're a little crazy now. So I don't know.
The rough has adjusted to something else.
We heard from Ethan, and this was actually in response to one of the theories we threw out about the goblins using the case systems to get around.
Okay.
Ethan said, "I'm sorry, but I have to shoot this one down." LOL. I live not too far from there, and I've never heard that. Love the podcast, though.
Good to know. Good to know from a local resident.
I know.
Yeah, I never heard of it. That's good. That's good.
Or the goblins are,
they mind
they're
wiped them.
stealthy. Yeah, or mind wiped them.
Yeah. There could be other explanations.
We also heard from Mark. He gave us a little story because, again, we're talking about the Kentucky goblins. He said, I heard a story about Saranac Lake, New York, during the Kentucky Goblin episode. To the west is Tupper Lake, the Tupper Lake Insane Asylum.
Ooh.
I know.
We like asylums.
I used to deliver there for a couple years. One day delivering,
In the asylum?
he backed his truck up to the loading dock, and he got out. To his surprise, there was like two guys in what looked like old garbs just staring at him. He said he just waited on the side of his truck looking at these two until the delivery manager came around to the front of his truck and said hi. I asked if the two guys on the platform were there to help unload. He looked at me confused and asked what I was talking about.
Oh, God.
I told him there was two patients or whatnot standing there. We both looked at each other. And they were gone. And well, that caused him to call security to say that there was two men out there and check it out, or check out the cameras. Security called back in 15 minutes and said that there was no one on the loading dock when he backed his truck in. He says, I have other times when delivering or to these historical places with paranormal things happening. If we're interested, he'll let us know.
Oh, boy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, big time.
Thanks, Mark. Let's see. We heard from Stacy. Stacy said, I have an idea for one of your podcasts. You should check out MoMo, the Missouri Monster.
MoMo.
Interesting, because that's what we're talking about today. He said there's quite a history behind it, and a gentleman just finished a book about it. I don't know him, but I'm sure he would love the publicity and would surely join your show. Here's his info. And he shot me a link. Here was cryptomundo.com/Bigfoot/MoMo book. And I looked up at that link, and it turns out it's Lyle Blackburn. That guy's done stuff with Small Town Monster Productions, and he also did the documentary Boggy Creek Monster.
Oh, okay.
So I can't wait to check out the book. And I know that Small Town Monsters is actually this fall, they're releasing their MoMo documentary.
Wow.
So we got to wait like 6 months, but so yeah, Stacy, thank you so much. And Stacy also bought a comic book last week or two. Dude, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Let us know what you think, and thank you so very much. And let's see. Almost there. We heard from Jimmy. He said, hey, what's up, Paranormal peeps? This is Jimmy from Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
I previously sent you emails about the Dave's Not Here sketch that you guys have going on. It's not a sketch.
It's a recurring sketch that we have.
He said, Dave, I know you're real, and you're invited to have a beer with me anytime, brother. Now, that's awesome. But trust me, he's probably not going to show up. Okay, so, but he also attached a picture for us to check out. He said, the picture I have attached that you're probably wondering, WTF is this? It's a photo I took of the Cave Bacon inside Mammoth Cave. He said, my family, including my son, my wife, and himself, took a trip there last year. They weren't able to get into any of the really cool parts of Mammoth Cave due to overbooking. But they did take a self-guided tour through the biggest cave entrance, and it was still pretty awesome. He didn't see any Hollow Earth stuff, though. But he probably didn't go far enough, he says. He said, the city where all these caves are located is actually called Cave City. And they have a ton of caves that they were able to visit, about 5 of them in a 5-day trip, along with some other cool stuff. By the way, I was stoked when I heard you guys read my email on your air. You guys are awesome. I really do love you guys for everything that you guys are doing, so keep it up. And he wants to remind us how to say this. And oh, yeah, brujeria is pronounced brujeria. And I still messed it up. Sorry, Jimmy. But thanks for trying to help me along. I mean, I take it all like it's my fault. Like, you guys can't say that any better.
Heck no.
Yeah. Jimmy, the picture he posted here is a photo he took on his family trip. And, man, that does look like bacon.
That does.
The side of the cave looks like bacon. I feel like if we were there as a group investigating, Nash would be like hanging.
He'd be like,
you'd be free soloing up the side of the cave.
Trying to bite the side of it. Come on, I know I can do this.
You're just trying to lick and see, like, is it bacon? Speaking of bacon, it's time to talk about the MoMo.
MoMo.
Thanks, everybody, for sending your feedback. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
And we are going to get into the MoMo. Now, I'm going to set up a little bit about the MoMo here. So this is like considered like maybe the Eastern Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's been described as like 7 to 8 feet tall with his head's like a little weird shape. People would call it like a pumpkin shape.
Kind of like your head.
Covered up. My head is not pumpkin shape.
What the heck?
Bro, man, you hurt me.
You hurt my feelings, man.
Covered in hair. Even the hair is down over his face. Like sometimes you can only see is the glowing of his eyes.
Right.
3 fingers.
And toes.
3 long claw-like fingers. Yeah, and 3 toes. Been known to, like, he seems to like to eat dogs.
He likes dogs.
Yeah.
He's got a thing for dogs.
He likes pets.
Oh, and apparently he's also is into, like, lifting cars. So he's very bro-like, lifting up things, putting it back down.
Has a dog or two, and he's like, "Yo, let me move this car for you.
Yeah, look into my bicep.
Look at my hairy bicep."
Yeah, I pick things up and I put them down. I'm the MoMo. Sorry, that was terrible. One other big detail that you'll find, like similar to another cryptid we talked about, is the MoMo. If anybody's wondering, MoMo is short for Missouri Monster, but I'm sure you already knew that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say it. Another trait is it's super wicked, massively stinky.
Yeah, super duper stinky.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you might be sitting there wondering yourself as you listen to this podcast, what is that smell? Some have compared it to a rotting corpse or like deep, rotting, stinky, nasty garbage. But I'm going to tell you something. Today, just today, I think I know exactly what the MoMo smells like. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So we were at Funk Brewing, Elizabethtown, Linnaeus. We love you guys. And we were meeting to pregame for the podcast, as we always do. We have a couple beers, just bond as friends. And there was a person sitting next to us that, smelled really bad. It was acidic and it was burning my nostrils. And when Nash got in, he moved down for us so Nash could sit next to us.
So I was now the buffer. For the wall of stick.
That really helped me.
Yeah.
And I said, thanks, dude. And the guy said, no, it's cool. Actually, I just went for a long run and I smell like death, so I'm just moving away from you guys. I'm like, thank you. Number one, thank you for admitting it. But number two, like, yeah.
Why did you do that earlier?
That smelled like death. So I think that's what the MoMo smells like, where it burns your nostrils and you're like,
it has that ammonia smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you compound the whole thing with the dead animals. So you get blood and the smell of death mixed in with, I've been out running through the woods and doing these things for hours and hours, sweat, that smell that we had today, plus the smell of dead dog. Oh, my God. It's going to be terrible.
Now, the MoMo, he's been spotted around the Ozark Mountains, which is like South Missouri. I'm not very familiar with Missouri, but I'm very familiar with the TV show on Netflix, Ozark.
Ozark, fantastic show.
Yeah.
With Jason Bateman. He's awesome.
He's awesome.
But this area, the Ozarks, is wicked dense. The forest is so dense. Like
super dense.
I was reading that you could like walk in these forests for a while and not see anybody or not cross the road. They're that thick. So something like this could literally
be right there.
hiding out there. But when people really started to know MoMo and even named it MoMo, it was like back in the 70s.
Right.
Upon one of the first sightings. Lish, take it away.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that sounded so cheesy. Hey, here on WPP Punchers. Let's take it away to the next segment.
Yeah. So MoMo was first reported in 1971 near Louisiana, Missouri. And Louisiana is actually a town in Missouri.
Okay.
I was confused at first when I was researching. I was like, wait a minute, is it Louisiana or Missouri? But anyway, Joan Mills and Mary Ryan were on a picnic. And all of a sudden, this half-man, half-ape creature came out of the woods.
Sorry about that.
And he had an awful smell about him. So he started walking towards them. They ran to their car, and they were like, oh, my God. They locked the doors. And it was at that point they realized they left the keys out where they were having their picnic. And they were like, crap. They were like, we can't go anywhere. So MoMo went over to their area, ate all of their sandwiches.
Sure.
Ate all their food, and then came towards the car. At that point, they were freaking out. And I guess one of the girls, she accidentally hit the horn, and it scared MoMo, and he ran off at that point. So they told the police about this encounter, and they didn't really give it out to the public until 1972, when there was this crazy 2 to 3 week
like a
long
spree.
Yeah. That's when it came out at that point.
The Mogollon monster, the Bigfoot of Arizona, he would raid campgrounds and eat all their crap too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So they're definitely hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in defense, I mean, that's what I would do if I was hungry and out in the woods.
Well, yeah.
I mean, come on, who wouldn't do that, really?
I mean, yeah, he just scares them away. He eats all their food.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, peace out, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go take a shower. Or wait, you don't feel like it. This thing's working for me, so.
Yeah. So like a month before this whole thing that happened in 72, there were a couple guys out that were trying to go fishing. And before they were coming up to the river, they looked over the edge. They heard some splashing or whatever, and they saw this they weren't really sure what it was. They thought it was a hairy hippie.
As they are.
So they weren't concerned at first, but all of a sudden, like when it started coming
You should
towards
definitely
them,
be concerned.
Yeah, that's right.
when they
Be
realized,
tripping on acid or something.
Very hippie. I like that. I like that.
yeah, they just thought it was a hippie. But yeah, it started coming towards them, and at that point, they were like, "Wait a minute, this is not a person." So they ran away, obviously, because he was just coming at them. They ran away, and they found a conservation officer, and they came back to be like, "You need to see this. This is crazy. I don't know what this creature is." And they couldn't find him, but they found.
Wait, so the creature took off, and they went and found a
conservation
Conservation.
officer. Yeah. And brought him
forest
back.
ranger?
It's a forest
Our
cop.
game warden?
I don't know.
It's a forest cop.
A forest cop.
Yeah, so
Oh my God, that's a
Oddly
TV show.
enough-
we got to make that.
forest cop. Oddly, I used to know one who works for the ranger, and they are armed. They go to campsites and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're really cool position.
So they all returned back to that area to be like, let's look for this
Right,
creature.
right.
And all they could find were a 3-toed footprints. That was it.
You know, I want to say, like, you guys have heard of the Boggy Creek monster.
Oh yeah,
Right.
It had
3.
3 toes.
3 toes. That's right.
Same creature, same lineage,
Same mo.
same
Modus
Your
operandi.
puns, I get your pun, sir.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. I get your pun, and I giggled at it. Thank you very much.
That's all you get.
Now, but one of the big ones that really set off the legend of
Yes.
Momo happened in 1972, and this is where he came walking out of the woods covered in blood,
Right.
holding a freaking dead dog.
It was under
This is
under
where-
his arm.
Yeah. Yeah, Lish.
Oh, okay. So
I set it up. You knock it down.
So July 11th, 1972, there was 2 boys, Terry Harrison and his brother, Walley. Terry was 8, Walley was 5. They were out playing like in their backyard right by where the woods are. And all of a sudden, this creature came out of the woods, freaked them out. They started screaming. Their sister, who was 15, she was inside the house, but she heard the screaming. She looked out the window and saw this creature standing there by the woods. She said it was 6 or 7 feet tall, hairy, and black. It stood like a man, but it didn't look like one to me. So, of course, this is back in the 70s. They don't have cell phones. She ran out to the living room and was calling her mom to be like, oh my God, there's something out there. Apparently, yeah, it didn't have a neck. It almost looked like it didn't have a neck. I feel like its head was so big.
Yeah, the head was so big, and it was so big and muscular that it was just shoulders.
Like, neck went away. He's just like
the guy from Doctor Who, with the bullet shaped heads.
Right, yeah. I don't remember what that's called, but
oh, I know who you're
The
talking
chauffeur
about.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, so the creature, once it heard the boys crying, it fled. It ran away. Because
I've
feel
heard
like,
that the sound of kids it's also attracted to, but maybe these high pitched sounds also. It's
Right.
like I'm out.
Right.
Just like when you're at the pub.
Right.
And there's this kid starts screaming and wailing. You're like, check please.
Check, please. I'm done.
But yeah, it had a bloody dead dog in the crook of its arm.
Right.
It's clearly dinner for the night.
Well, yeah, I think he was either snacking on it at the time, or he was moving it to an area where he could snack on it. But the smell of the creature was said to be like super bad, like very horrendous.
Yep, we know what that smells like.
I'm wondering if maybe the dog. Now, I'm just taking the devil's advocate on this. Okay, in this scenario, maybe the dog had gone feral, and Momo was returning the dog to their owner, but he had an altercation, and he was like trying to bring the dog home.
Dog attacked Momo, and
Maybe.
Momo just
defended himself. That's how he got covered in blood. And he prefers, PB&Js and ham sandwiches and things like
What if
that.
Momo was just playing with him? And just like my German Shepherd, when I saw her play with a baby bunny, the baby bunny didn't enjoy the game and eventually died. But my dog thought they were best friends for that brief moment in time.
Right. Yeah. And then Momo brought the dog home to the nearest people where there were these kids.
Yeah.
Of course, the kids freak out and he took off.
Well, I have something on that, but let me finish this real quick.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Dang.
The boys were out playing with their dog as well. Okay.
See?
Yeah, they had a dog, and Momo was carrying a dead dog in his arms. But anyway, so they think that the smell was so bad that it made their dog violently sick, because shortly after that, he was like vomiting for hours after. His eyes grew red. So they were like, I feel like the smell of Momo, it just kind of like, it affected him really bad.
Yeah, some sickness. That's gross.
Yeah. So there was somebody that, there's a woman that lived just a couple blocks away. And she could hear like animal sounds outside her home. Mm-hmm. But shortly after that, she talked to somebody, it was a local farmer, and he said his dog had disappeared. He didn't know what happened to it. And so she knew about what was happening with the kids.
The little kids.
Yeah. And so she was like, I wonder if that was the farmer's dog.
Oh, maybe.
So, sorry, I was just finishing that,
Right. See, that's what I'm thinking. The dog was like protecting, so he was actually going after Momo.
Maybe.
And Momo was like, good dog. And accidentally just pulled his head off.
How he talks?
Yeah.
Good dog. Good dog. That's Momo talking, everybody.
Yeah. So I guess the father, who is
Momo would be like, so the relatively square root of EMC.
This canine has been assaulting me in the past.
You guys think my smell is offensive? You should smell yourself.
That's right. Please take a shower in the stream, please.
So the father, Edgar Harrison, of the two kids, he came home and he could not find pretty much anything besides the fact that like the brush and the grass were like, it looked like there was something that had been there that was big and heavy. And he also found some like faint footprints in the dust. And I think up until that point, it had been, this is July, so obviously they hadn't had a whole lot of rain.
Okay.
So I feel like everything was really dry, but the fact that you could actually see footprints.
A month or so later.
Right. Well, no, he came home that day.
Oh! I was thinking that. It was, sorry about that.
No,
my mistake.
it's okay. But I mean, he would have been like super heavy to leave any kind of footprints when it was so dry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
7 to 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Super swole. So swole that the neck disappeared. Yeah. 4 hundo, 5 hundo.
Easily. Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
And the only reason I mentioned the father is because he becomes a player throughout the next couple weeks. But a player. Yeah.
Like checking in with all the ladies, kind of a player.
No.
What are we talking about?
High roller in Vegas?
Yeah,
What kind of player?
What kind of player we're talking about?
Yeah.
Don't hate the player.
Well,
hate the game.
Hate that statement. You can hate that statement.
So July 14th, 1972, which is just 3 days later, they could hear, it sounded like loud animal noises outside their house. And this is Edgar Harrison, who is the father. He could hear stuff, and they have like on top of a hill, like behind their house, they have a metal water reservoir.
Okay.
And they could hear, not necessarily banging, but they could hear something going on up there. And I feel like they were so freaked out that they left the house, all of them. The entire family fled the house. But then they ran into about 40 people that were coming up the street. They were all carrying guns.
Oh.
It is because they were on their way to the reservoir to see what is going on, what is making this noise. Like everybody was hearing
40 people?
It was a good old posse.
About 40 people. Now, by the time the police arrived up there, they couldn't find anything. They didn't see anything out of the ordinary or whatever. But later that evening, Harrison and several of his friends, they went back up to the hill because they were like, let's see what's going on up here. And they found an old building that had this strong an unpleasant odor that was lingering.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. He described it as a moldy horse smell or a strong garbage smell. And then in the days that followed after that, there's a lot of people that would experience that exact smell, but like in different areas. Yeah.
But also, I want to go back here just a sentence or two. So MoMo had a cabin in the woods?
Basically, yeah. He had it was his man cave, I guess.
Nice.
MoMo had a man cave?
A mo cave.
I don't know. It was his mo cave, yeah.
Clearly, well, I mean, obviously, it had no shower in it. I wonder if he had like a plasma, flat screen TV, surround sound.
Well, it was the 70s. So.
The 70s. No, he had like a
shortwave
8mm projector, yeah.
That's right.
And then, like in the early mornings of that day, there was somebody that they mentioned that they saw a dark object crossing the road near that hill, and it was running like a man when it crossed. He said it was running like a man when it went across the road in front of his car. So like, but it wasn't a man. You know what I mean? Like he could see that it was something weird and big, running like on 2 feet.
Bipedal.
Yeah. So he was like, I don't know what that is.
Oh, well.
Well,
Yeah. So they attributed
bipedal.
to MoMo. Then July 19th, which is 5 days later, the police chief, he organized like a 20-man search party to like look in the area and see what's going on. They didn't really find anything. But I feel like that night they could hear noises and a low-pitched growl that ended with a scream.
So was that? I want to kind of go back a little bit to the Love Shack, to the Momo's Love Shack.
MoMo's Love Shack.
Yeah. So if they found the Love Shack, but once they found that they didn't go back to there.
Well, I feel like the search party was going back to the area. They were trying to look and see what's going on in this area, but after they left, I mean, they didn't see anything, so they left. And then that evening, like after they left, I felt like they could hear stuff.
Oh, so he was pissed off. People were in his Love Shack,
Right.
taking out the circular, vibrating bed and things like that, and putting quarters in.
Okay. So the next day, which is July 20th, they did another investigation party or whatever. And they were looking around the Harrison's house and then also that hill. Because it felt like the activity was kind of happening like around that area.
Right.
So near the tree where where the 15-year-old girl saw him,
Right.
they said that there was like circular spots in the brush, like in the leaves and stuff. So they felt like there was something that had been there, and it was stripping the branches were stripped off the bushes nearby.
Okay.
And they also found signs that someone had been digging in the local garbage dump. Yeah.
I'm thinking
That could be a clue why he smells so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's see what else.
Dang.
I know.
It's quality podcast.
I know. Sorry. There's just so much here. So they also found like some footprints up near the hill, near that
near the garbage dump.
Yeah, near the Love Shack.
Okay.
And it looked like the footprints were like there was a long distance between them.
Okay.
So either he was running or he has just a very long stride. And then, so the one was actually rather large. And then the other one that they found was it was more like, so the other one was 10 inches long and the other one that they found was like 5 inches long and it was curved. So they felt like it was kind of like his hands, so that he was almost crawling up the hill or something.
Like almost went into a dog run.
Yeah. And I feel like we've heard that like sometimes they'll be down on all fours and then they'll get up and on 2 feet. Yeah.
Now, after all this, though, he was really big in the 70s.
Yes.
Right.
And then, boom.
Then nothing.
But I found some stuff. I found a report in 1998.
Okay.
Oh.
That's like 20 plus years later. This dude said he was out hiking around in those woods, and he saw these like two glowing eyes,
Okay.
like about 8 feet off the ground. And his first inclination was like, maybe a raccoon. He's like, wait, no. The eyes are too far apart to be a raccoon's eyes. And then, he got his light on, managed to shine, and he saw like this tall 8-foot fur-covered head to toe, except those two glowing eyes.
Coming through the hair coming over the front.
Coming through the hair. Like almost like, I'm assuming it's like Cousin It from Addams Family. Just,
yep.
well, except you never could see Cousin It's eyes, I guess. Anyway. So, of course, when he shined a light on and got a little bit of a look at it, this thing turned, and he described it as being able to, just in a couple bounds, gone.
Really?
Like, his stride and his speed was so beyond normal human that it was gone with just in a few strides of his legs.
So if you're having something that's, 8 feet tall, 7-8 feet tall, something like that, that means your legs.
400 or 500 pounds, can pick cars up, no neck.
Well, I mean, I'm about 6 feet tall, and my legs are, a couple of feet long, 2.5 feet long, something like that. So if you're 8 feet tall, that's like a 4-foot leg.
What's your stride?
It's about 3.5, 4 feet.
Yeah, but you can't pick a car up either, so.
Well, one of those little smart cars, maybe.
You think?
Not like a Buick or something, but
do you think you pick up a smart car?
Yeah, they're not very heavy.
Oh, okay.
Just the back. I mean, he's not like picking it up like Superman on like you're carrying a tray full of plates or something like that.
But you can pick the back up so they go. They can't go anywhere. And then you let them go. And
Like they picked up the Yugo in Dragnet, the movie, the Yugoslavian import.
Now, there's also a report. I don't know if it was in the late '90s or 2000s, but these dudes down there in Missouri were doing some night fishing.
Okay.
So they're out, whatever night fishing is. Well, I know it. I've been night fishing.
It's fishing. Night fishing is angling at night.
Yeah. So they're on a boat, and they heard some noise over on the side of the river, stream, creek,
water,
whatever.
body of water.
So they had some powerful lights too on the boat. So they shone one over to see what the noise was, and they described it as MoMo, this 8-foot hairy creature hanging off a branch like 10 feet above the water. So it was out over the water, hanging on a branch. Of course, they hit him with the light. They saw it, and it shot himself back to the bank and scrambled off.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Was it fishing?
Well,
was it hanging out over the water?
Was it fishing for people?
I don't know, but was it hanging out over the water, just dipping in and grabbing a fish out?
Maybe, because they're
a bear grabbed salmon. Was the MoMo hanging out grabbing some trout out of the water?
Quite possibly, but if he was hanging on a branch out of the water, there's questions about the logistics of that. How tall was the tree? How high was the branch? Because if he's 8 feet long, that means his arm span is what? 8 feet? Maybe 8.
Maybe he can hang upside down by his feet.
Yeah, if he has abnormally
grab
long
a fish out of the water.
Yeah.
What if he was just doing some gymnastics because it makes him feel great? And these people came along.
Yeah,
and
he's doing some chin-ups.
Yeah.
He's doing some chin-ups.
Yeah.
What if?
Oh, that's why he's so big.
Yeah. What if he was trying to ease himself into taking a bath and didn't get the chance because these fools were like, "I see you in your private parts."
He's like, "I'll never get to take a bath."
And he's like, "Come on, I can't take a bath. I've been waiting for 28 years to do this."
Now, if it was the middle of the night, you're in a boat, I think it'd be pretty dang terrifying to see this 8-foot hairy creature hanging from a branch, just eyeballing you back.
Yeah, going, "What's up? Hey, what's
I mean,
up?
clearly I'd be like,
How you doing?"
I'd fire up that motor and just be like,
Okay, we are done. Bring the rods in. Here we go, and off we go.
because obviously we'd all point our phones at it and take blurry pictures, so it wouldn't matter. So I would just try to get us out of there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Wow, that would be pretty amazing. I'm just thinking, to hang from a branch, I would want to know how he's hanging. You're right. Because if he was like one arm
Yeah, is
hanging.
he one arm in it?
If he's just one arm and then the other arm's
Because
waiting for
then he's
fish.
showboating.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh, yeah, look at my arm."
Now all of a sudden Momo's like, "Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I apparently from Austria."
Because you can, you can actually catch fish barehanded. There's techniques to do it. There's these crazy techniques. So I'm imagining if Momo was out there.
We've got this 3 long claw-like hand.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like You could just spear.
Almost like an eagle coming in and snatching a trout out of the water.
How do you know he can't use his feet like an eagle too? How do you know he wasn't hanging?
Who knows?
He'd dip his feet in the water and just bam, grab that.
So he could carry
He could be like wicked flexible and just bring it up to his mouth too.
kind of clawing like on a branch like a sloth. How they kind of do with their
Yeah,
claws,
exactly.
kind of a thing. Reaching down.
Oh, I tell you what. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with a few more theories and some listener stories. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mark, we're almost out of Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks.
That's because you keep eating them.
Paranormal Punchers, you must listen to me. We are you from 10 days in the future.
Wait, in 10 days we get to time travel?
Just listen. In 10 days, you run out of snack sticks. This sends Nash on a rampage, setting off a chain reaction, leading to the end of the world.
Me? I destroy the world?
There's no time to explain. Just order snack sticks now.
They have 3 great flavors: original, spicy, and teriyaki.
The portal is closing. We have to go. Order snack sticks. Save the world.
Is anyone curious how we learn to time travel in 10 days?
There's no time for that right now, Dave.
Right. We need to hit the road and stockpile snack sticks.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Go to mfjerky.com and use promo code SpookyJerky15 to save 15% off your entire order. Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks. The best snack to pack on your paranormal or normal adventure.
Oh my God. Honey, look, it's Bigfoot.
No way. Let's go say hi. Hey, Mr. Bigfoot. What you reading?
You can call me Frank, and I'm reading the Paranormal Punchers comic book.
Paranormal Punchers?
Yeah, it's about a group of podcasters that get themselves in all kinds of paranormal trouble. It's like Scooby-Doo meets the X-Files, and it's hilarious.
Sounds great. Where can we get a copy?
Just head over to paranormalpunchers.com where you can find a comic book and all kinds of merchandise.
Thanks, Mr. Bigfoot. Have a nice day.
Thanks, you too. Oh, and look out for that bear.
And we're back.
Hey, oh my gosh.
All right, Momo. Mm-hmm. The Missouri Monster.
Yeah.
A.K.A. Stinky.
Stinky.
Just like his cousin in Florida. The
That's
Skunky.
right. That's right.
Actually, I think all of the big feet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, what is the plural for that?
I don't know.
Big feets, big foots.
Bigfoots?
Who cares? That's from our movie. Anyway, you know, I did they ever say that Bigfoot out in the Pacific Northwest, Frank, did they ever say he smelled? Because in the comic book, he smelled like cookies. No, it's just the ones in the southern area where the sun and the swamps.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I almost wonder.
Well, in the Pacific Northwest, it's hot and it's humid.
True.
And if you're
Why do I think everything out in California area or the West Coast is like San Diego? So apparently, where Bigfoot is running around, it's not always
It's not.
70s and beautiful.
No, it's like 85 and 100% humidity. It's always
That's
rainy
awful.
there.
100% humidity.
Yeah, it's practically water just everywhere. And
Why do people live there?
that's a whole different question. But he's giant, covered in hair. He's got to be sweating all the time.
But if it rains a lot, he's always getting.
Yeah, that's true.
Fresh.
That's true. That's true. And he's got plenty of pine. It all depends on how Frank bathes. I mean, you could literally take some pine and rub it all over your body. And that's going to be incredibly painful because those are pine needles.
Yeah, he could take it.
Yeah.
Now, back to Momo, our stinky cryptid from Missouri. Lish, any other deets on that story you were telling us?
Yeah, I did want to mention that the father of those two boys, Edgar Harrison, he became so obsessed with Momo that he took a leave of absence from work and he ended up camping out on that hill that was behind their house for like 20 some days, just looking and trying to find any evidence of this creature. I just found that kind of interesting. I was like, he literally stopped his life because this creature was like in their area and was messing with stuff. His family was afraid to come back to the house. But
So, wow. The question I have, do you think that was a paid leave?
I don't know.
You think you could take it like FMLA or
I
something
don't
like
know.
that? Because, I mean, it could be like, you have to use vacation days, I guess. I mean, that would be a little odd. You could do the vacation days. It's not much of a vacation.
Yeah.
But back in the day, would that be like an insanity or something? Like people would be like, you're crazy. And they'd be like, that's great. I need
mental health day.
mental health
Yeah,
days.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But,
I'm thinking I might be planning something here shortly. That sounds pretty good.
then also
All right.
in 1979 in that area, there was a possible encounter with MoMo. This family, they could hear all this noises going on, animal noises.
Okay.
It was shrieking or whatever. So they went outside to go see what was going on, and they found footprints. But the footprints were kind of in the middle of the yard. They started and ended, and there was no, like, it was almost like he appeared in their backyard and then disappeared, like without.
So there's no like path coming in, path coming out.
Yeah, he just the footprints were just showing like it was just in this area, and we don't know where he went.
Yeah, but what if his that we just talked about how strong he is? What if his like his squat jump or his vertical jump?
I don't
so good.
know.
Like you said, they end right here, but he shot himself
Like the Hulk.
Yeah, he jumped like 100 yards that way. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
He could Hulk jump. That'd be pretty cool.
Everybody wants to Hulk jump.
I want to Hulk jump.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what led to, maybe he Hulk jumped in. That's
You
what creates
think he disappeared.
But he didn't.
He did it.
And that's and quite honestly, if you're only about, if you're about 400 pounds, 450 pounds, you're not going to leave really deep footprints.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Hulk jump into someplace, you better believe you're going to leave some giant deep footprints. So maybe
I assume you're going to hear there's going to be some vibrations too.
Yeah, some thumps when he lands, like a superhero landing.
Right.
And then Hulk jump out of there. Huh.
Well, yeah.
Or aliens pick him up.
Yeah, I was going to say,
immediately that's where my mind went. I was like, oh my god, what if he's an alien? He was projected in, and then they took him back out. But there were a lot of UFO specialists that came down to the area doing some research. Like, was there a possibility? And they couldn't find any like link between UFOs and like nobody really saw any that during that time. So
that time
Now-
in the 70s.
Now, flash forward from the 70s till now. I just one more thing I want to bring up about the MoMo, because it's a mystery. It's not like he's being spotted constantly. But I saw this on TV. There's this dude that's really obsessed with him, and it's because he had a run-in with him one time. So this guy now goes out with his buddy. They have infrared cameras. They set stuff up. But this guy set up like a fake camp.
Okay.
Like he set a tent up. He set up a picnic table with some food, and then he got in his pickup truck and he covered all the windows with blankets and everything, to black it out so no light would escape. So if anything showed up, they wouldn't, they
would be
think
scared
that he was
about it.
inside on his cell phone or something.
Yeah.
Because he figured like he was setting like it was bait. It was like a trap,
Right.
Because he heard like that the MoMo likes campsites. He likes to eat campers' foods, just like the Mogollon monster.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in his truck, and he had like one of those parabolic microphones, the ones that pick up.
Oh, the big antenna with the antenna gun
with the big
things.
dish-like thing around it. So it picks up. It's very hypersensitive and picking up sounds. So he's sitting in his truck, and he could hear footsteps coming up behind the truck.
Okay.
And he pulled the blanket slightly, and he could see her in the rearview mirror. He claims he saw this hairy creature, and it kind of grabbed he had like side rails on the truck, that kind of things you put in your pickup truck, then you can have ladders on top and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He grabbed those, and that's how he can tell the height-wise, like it looked to be about 7 or 8 feet based on the height of the bars on his truck. And then it rummaged through the back of his truck. I don't know what it was looking for. I don't know why a creature like that would just be, rummaging through stuff. Like, I don't know what it thought it could find or it could use. I guess maybe eat. Eat is probably the end goal. But he was so scared. Like this thing couldn't find anything in the truck it gave a crap about, and it went off. He sat in his truck with the blankets on the windows for 4 more hours till sun came up because he was terrified to get out of his truck and get out of there.
But did the creature go to the... Did they do anything to the picnic site or to the campsite, or did it just mess up in the truck?
He didn't say. Maybe it did, but after he witnessed that and just sat in his truck, hoping that daylight came.
Yeah,
I don't know if he paid attention after that. Sometimes you get so scared that time passes and you forget. Like, oh, maybe I should check this. Is he still out? You're just terrified. Yeah.
Wow.
So to this day, he still is going out with his cameras and doing wood knocks and trying to find proof because I saw it, and I want to find proof to show other people. So maybe it's still out there. It just isn't. It just picks and chooses when it decides to come hang out.
Has its food source, it does its hunting, and then when it runs a little low, that's when it comes out and says hello to everybody.
Yeah.
And I know Ethan called a little BS on our cave system theory, but I'd like to tell you something. There's also a boatload of cave systems in Missouri.
Oh,
There is. There's a lot of them.
So I don't know. Maybe it maybe it goes down and hibernates for years on end.
They could.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes through cave systems. I don't know. Pops up over in Kentucky.
I'm wondering if every once in a while there's with the new sightings, because the sightings that they have were 20 some odd years apart in the 70s and then again in the late 90s. I'm wondering, now this is just me thinking logistics, if when they saw MoMo, was maybe Momo's hair maybe a little bit grayer?
I don't.
You know what I mean? It had visible signs of aging, or if it was still looked like what the old Momo looked like. If that were the case, there might be multiple Momos. That would be Moomomos. That was a long setup for a really bad joke. I'm so sorry.
Moomomos?
Moomomos. Multiple Momos. Moomomos.
Oh God.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It happens sometimes.
It happens. I'm just thinking there could be multiple because there's no signs of aging. None of the hair turns gray.
Moomomos.
Moomomos. There could be Moomomos.
I feel like I read something about there was
You
theories
just
that
think of Mo from Three Stooges.
there were theories that okay.
Good. Serious face, everybody. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. So I read some things that there were theories that possibly Bigfoot, but also Momo, and maybe even some of the skunk apes and other Bigfoot. Oh my God!
You're
Bigfoot.
really having a hard time.
I am.
Hey, the Bigfoot over here.
Come and look at the Bigfoot.
Oh boy, that they migrate throughout the country.
Okay, I
So
can
they
see
don't
that.
stick to like one area.
What if they're
they
like
move
the
around.
Justice League? What if they all hang out together and they move around because
I
that's
don't
where they're
know.
battling evil?
Oh God.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I went off on
yeah.
a tangent. I thought you were leading up like they might be hanging out together.
No, it was just
Like,
more
yeah.
like that's why we don't see them on a regular basis. It's like every 4 years or every 10 years. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're migrating throughout the country and they're going
Right.
to new areas. I don't know.
Like, for instance, I mean, wildebeest, when they travel and they do their migrations, it's over like hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Right.
So they could be doing that between the Bigfoots and the other cryptids. They could have just a really large range of territory that they cover.
All right.
And part of it could be underground in the cave.
Right, exactly. There could be a territory that they cover, and then there's a dormant cycle, so they got to go to sleep. They got to do their thing. Oh yeah, I could get that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're Bigfoots.
What is
yeah.
going on?
They're walking.
Bigfoot's over here.
They're walking the Bigfoot in the woods. Yeah.
Woo. Anything else on the Momo?
No, just a couple theories, but really it's a black bear or it's a hoax. So,
I did find something hoax-wise. Like they found a footprint. It might have been back in 70-something, but it was this little girl that I think she wanted attention, so she made this Bigfoot print and Momo print,
a Momo print.
Yeah.
Momo print, and went and told, and everybody came out. They were like, "Oh my God, a Momo print!" I don't know if they took casting.
I
of
think
it.
they did take a cast.
And then
of it,
she
so.
did come out with it and admitted that she had faked this because obviously she
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, everybody's really pretty excited about this Momo. Like,
They're like, oh, it was mine. Sorry. Yeah.
maybe I'll capitalize on this and make a Momo print."
Well,
I don't know, but there are other people who have taken a Bigfoot print too since then.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't find anything else. That was the hoax that came up in the search. Was this little girl admitted like, I faked that.
Right. Yeah. So who knows? I think it's a Bigfoot cousin. But
It could be, and there. I'm trying to think. Could it be aliens? Could it be some genetic modifications? I don't know. But it also could be a really long-haired, dirty hippie living in some love shack.
With 3 fingers and 3 toes.
It could be somebody that it was caught in barbed wire and had to do his thing. You know, had to get out of there, cut off a toe. Maybe there's some modifications, some mutations. Who knows?
Okay.
And he lives in the hills. Who knows? He just hasn't taken a shower in 16 years. You never know. Never know. Just like Tarzan in the Land of the Apes. He never showered very often. And he was stinky. He lived with apes, for Pete's sake.
Wow, you go from Momo to Tarzan.
Well, you know, they thought he was, you know.
No, I would never make those 2 connections. There's no way I could predict on today's show.
That I would draw that connection between Tarzan and Momo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking that he runs with the apes, and it sounds like Momo could be a very large, swole person that has really long hair, hasn't cut it, and he stinks. Okay,
What if he's just like a CrossFitter?
That's what I'm saying. I know people who fit that description.
So obsessed with CrossFit, just gave up on shaving and
That's what I'm saying. And cutting his hair and whatnot. I know people who meet this description almost verbatim, and they don't really like people, and so they don't smell. They don't smell very good. So I could imagine them living. I could imagine them. You know, a bunch of imagines living in some shack off in the woods by themselves and being really content and happy being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every once in a while, if a creature attacks, you carry it back. You give the kids that are freaked out because they haven't seen some naked, hairy hippie guy.
Well, I can only hope that the Momo is happy and content.
Yeah.
And his little cabin in the woods.
I'm glad he's got a love shack. I really
Or in the
do.
caves.
Yeah, wherever Momo goes, Momo's
And if
there.
he is using the cave system, I hope he's kicking it with the goblins.
maybe they're BFFs.
They could be. It could be like having minions running around. Like maybe the goblins are the one who are gathering food for Momo.
Maybe.
Because he's King Momo.
Yeah. And you got to go tell the goblins because if you don't do anything, they're just going to be like idle hands. They're going to get out of control. So he's like, yo, go get me some food. I need some carrots. I need
some carrots. I need a dog.
I need a dog. I need some meat. I've been a vegetarian for a while. I could really go for some food. Momo food. Momo need more food.
All right. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, we know when it's time to go to the next segment when Nash is talking about Momo food.
That's right.
Brought to you by Momo Food.
Momo food.
That was it. Anything else on the Momo? I mean, that was fun, interesting. A lot of similarities with the Mogollon Monster. A lot of similarities with the Boggy Creek Monster and the Skunk Ape. I don't know. It was fun. Interesting that it really was all happening down in the 70s. I'm not going to say it was acid,
But
maybe it was acid. Anyway, that was fun. We're going to move on to a couple of listener stories that we got. And as always, we love getting your stories.
Yeah.
You can just go to our website, paranormalpunchers.com, use the form, send us a story, and we'll read it. So we got 3 today. We're going to start off. I'm going to read the first one. And boy, I tell you, I hope we can read these and not butcher them. So we're going to do the best we can. Our first story comes from Michelle. Hey guys, I love your cast. I wanted to share an experience I had, and it deals with Mothman.
Woohoo!
My husband and I decided to take a trip to Point Pleasant. We were dropping my mother-in-law off in West Virginia to meet her friend and decided why not take a mini vacation. We stopped in Point Pleasant before making our way back home to PA. We stopped at the Mothman Museum and saw a driving guide for the places that Mothman was spotted. After being in the car for so many hours, we wanted to get out and walk around. So we made our way to the spot, and I mean the spot. It was the spot where the Mothman was first spotted in the abandoned warehouse behind the fairgrounds. It was cool to see it, but it really was just an empty grass field at this point. We decided to take a walk right past the TNT sites. It looked like a really great area to take a small walk, and we are hiking enthusiasts. This is where things got a little strange. I was incredibly calm. I wanted to walk further. There were so many times that we should have turned around, but we kept moving forward. Everything was amplified. The sounds around us were incredibly loud. I have hiked in many places before, and I even live in a small mountain town in the Appalachians. I have never experienced these types of sounds before. We heard a huge flap of wings 3 times with the crackling of tree branches. This happened for almost a mile of our hike. Something was obviously watching us and making it known. Yet, we were calm. That is, when I heard the buzzing. It sounded like a hive of bees were in my ears. This is where it gets even weirder. After hiking quite a bit on the road that was shut off, we came across a black car with no one in it. With that thought, we turned around, but we're still calm. We walked the same way back when we came across something that was not on the path before that out of nowhere appeared. A house that looked almost burnt. I approached it, still calm. I would never, in this kind of situation, ever be calm. But yet, I was. I heard movement inside and a single flap of a wing that sounded like an echo of an eagle taking flight. Something told me to stay away from this house. Calmly, I backed away, and again, we headed back to our car, completely calm. I didn't hear a wing sound on our way back, only the amplified sound of buzzing of bees. I felt like we were walking for only a half hour or so. I mean, it really was only a mile. We got in our car and pulled away, heading back to the main road. And that is when we started to panic. It was like a sheet being pulled away from us. 1 minute, we were calm. And within a flash, we were panicked. We only walked at least 1 mile to 2 miles, but we were gone for 3 hours.
Oh, my God.
I honestly cannot explain what happened. I feel like there was time missing. I tried to make logic of what happened. We may have just missed that house on the way out. Maybe we heard an owl. Or maybe that car took a different road from within the TNT sites. But nothing can explain how eerily calm we were walking through a place with many warning signs with lost time. The weirdest thing of all is, I didn't look back when we left. I have this habit of looking back whenever I hike to give one last look at the beauty. I had this feeling not to look behind my shoulders, just to keep walking forward. When we crossed the West Virginia border into Ohio, that's when I finally looked at my husband and said, "Did we just?" And he, the skeptic, said, "I think we did." What do you guys think? Thanks for reading my story. You guys rock. That's pretty weird.
That is pretty weird.
Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Very interesting that they only went a mile or two, and they were gone for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Hearing the flap of wings, the buzzing of bees in their ears. I mean, there's a lot of signs like, get the F out of here.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
But walking down the trail and on your way back, like, where did that weird burnout house come from?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's freaky.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one time, I was walking this trail, and I came across a house that looked kind of burnt out. Now, it was there. I saw it as I walked to it. But once I got next to it, my phone went off in my pocket, but I had this weird, stupid app.
Okay.
It was like a EMF detector app.
Uh-huh.
or no, a spirit box app. So that radio thing.
Yeah.
I looked at it, as I was walking past the house. It went off in my pocket.
Oh, God.
And I was like, I went from a walk to a jog and got out of there. Michelle, thank you so very much. Now, we got more stories. Gonna toss this one over to Liz. She's got one to read from Gavin.
All right. So from Gavin, he says, "Hey, Punchers, loving the podcast. I've almost caught up in the couple of months I've been listening. Don't really have anything like you guys down there in little old New Zealand, but there is a reasonable amount of unusual activity in various forms, such as big cats wandering the countryside, taniwha, like a local dragon, being spotted, occasional UFO reports, and so on. Do have a couple of stories for my sister, though. Enjoy. My sister used to work for a haunted house attraction at an old mental hospital located in a semi-rural area south of Auckland City. There always have been stories of unusual occurrences out there, being an old mental hospital. My sister was talking to another staff member one night who told her their personal experiences. First one is that one part of the house the actors scared people from could see down to the first level. It's 2 levels, I guess. So they would count the number of visitors in the group, so they knew what sort of scare would work with that size. One night, the staff member, we'll call her Beth, counted 6 people in the group that would be heading their way and informed the other actors that they were coming. They all got into position, and when the visitors entered, they did their scare routine and chased the visitors out of the room. They grouped up again to ready for the next group. One of the other actors said, "I thought you said there were 6 people, but there were only 4. Beth contacted the entry staff, who confirmed the group was only for 4 people. So where did the other 2 people come from that Beth had counted? There's no way in or out of the building as everything is secured." Beth had another experience a few months later that spooked her. It had been a quiet night, and Beth had been working a small room on her own on the 2nd level. A call came over the radio to say, "Okay, all done. Let's go home." So she started securing the room she was in and getting her props all together. As she was doing this, she heard footsteps in the hall, and as she looked up, she saw 2 people walk past the doorway, going in the opposite direction of where visitors are directed. She said, "Oh, somebody's lost somehow," quickly packed her stuff up and headed out after them to help them out. Once she was in the hall, she could not see them, but figured they might have entered another room for some reason. So she started walking down the hall, checking each room as she went. She eventually got to the end of the hall without finding anyone. Then someone started walking up the stairs from the 1st level. It was another staff member doing a last check, and Beth said, "Oh, did you help those people find their way out?" The staff member looked puzzled and said they had seen no one at all during their checks. My sister's own experience was when she was helping out in the on-site cafe kitchen. It was a large kitchen with a tiled ceramic floor, benches and ovens, etc. around the outer walls, and in the center, a large steel table for food prep. There was just herself and a chef on opposite sides of the kitchen. The chef called out to my sister. We'll call her Kel. "Hey, Kel, come over here." So my sister proceeded to head over to the chef when he said, No, go the other way around the table. Kel was puzzled by this request, but obeyed anyway and went to the chef. He pointed at the floor at the end of the table. "What the heck is that?" Looking at the floor, it was as if something was pushing 2 rows of tiles together, creating a pyramid effect. A couple of other staff entered the kitchen talking and were called over by the chef. They too looked on in amazement. Then one said, "Oh, I know what's causing that. There was a problem with the gas pipes during the week. Pretty sure they run under the floor under the cellar." Kel and the other staff members grabbed a torch, which I'm assuming is a flashlight, right? And proceeded into the cellar to check for any signs of a leak. They found the pipes on the other side of the cellar from where the kitchen floor being moved was. There was no way this was caused by pipes, and from underneath the floor, there was no sign of anything being disturbed. Kel went back up to the kitchen as another staff member went to have a look to see what the fuss was about. This staff member was a local Maori girl. She saw what was happening, went pale, and left. They never saw her at work again. Apparently, they were able to push the towels back down again into position, and they didn't move again. Myself, I've not experienced anything, but did go on a ghost hunt one night with Kel at a local cemetery. Had radios with us to keep in contact, and we split up. After about 15 minutes, I saw something moving towards me, and to my relief, it was a couple taking a walk. I said good evening, and they continued past me, heading to the area Kel was. I got on the radio to let her know not to freak out the people heading up behind her, but got no answer. I kept trying to radio her, but still no answer. After about 10 minutes, Kel appeared looking rather sheepish. I asked her why she didn't answer me. She explained. She had heard my warning, and instead of just letting the people see her, she turned off the radio and hid behind a headstone. For some reason, as the couple got near the headstone, Kel got it into her head to stand up and walk away, scaring the absolute crap out of the couple, who were not expecting a 4'0" girl, she's short, to rise from a grave and walk away. I burst into laughter and didn't stop until we got back to the car.
Rise from the grave.
Right.
Thanks, Gavin.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Appreciate it. And Gavin had made a comment in there in a story about inviting us if we're ever down under to hang out and get a beer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had made a reference to snakes and spiders and said, whoa, it's not Australia. And I'm like, I'm sorry. My bad. Gavin, you're awesome. Thanks, man.
Yes, thank you.
And we have another story all the way, I guess, from Arizona. It's Nash's cousin, Mark.
What's up, Mark? So this from Mark. Mark said, hey, y'all, wanted to know my experience from the Tombstone reference in the last episode, so here it goes. A couple of times a week, they do what's called a ghost tour at the Birdcage Theater, which back in the day was a theater, brothel, saloon, that type of establishment. The place is really cool and has a ton of original poker tables and historical stuff to look at and check out. There are even preserved bullet holes on the walls and floors from the gunfights that broke out back inside the theater. So it was about an hour-long tour where the first half, the guide takes you through the place and shares paranormal experiences the staff has had. The second half of the tour, they sit the group around a table on the stage, put an EMF detector on the middle of the table, and turn out the lights. Oh, my gosh. They talk to ghosts. The ghosts they know hang out in that room in the theater, and the detector will light up if there's any presence. So about 20 minutes go by without anything happening. I'm feeling a little skeptical. Then all of a sudden, I feel something poke me in the back of the neck. The temperature around where I'm sitting seems to drop about 10 to 15 degrees, and I feel really uncomfortable all of a sudden. My wife is sitting next to me, so I ask her if she poked me, since I can't really see her. I thought she was messing with me. She says she didn't, and right after that, I get poked again. I tell the guide what happened, and she moves the detector in front of me and tells me to ask something. Feeling really uneasy, I say, I don't want to. And as soon as I open my mouth, the detector goes absolutely bonkers, lighting up. Everyone says, keep talking. So I ask if there's something, if there's someone behind me, and the detector goes crazy again. This goes on for the next couple of minutes with me getting poked a few more times. Finally, they turned on the lights and gave us the opportunity to walk around the theater for a little while longer. My wife asked the guide if she could follow me around with the detector while we were there, and then until we left the building, the thing would go off every single time she got close to me with it. I've never been a skeptic, but I've never had experiences with the paranormal before that night, and I will never be a skeptic now. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's my story, so keep up the good work, guys. I look forward to new episodes every single week. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark with a C.
Yeah.
Mark with a C.
Mark with a C.
Whoop, whoop.
It's like it should be part of Tombstone, Arizona's travel guide.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Huckleberries, come to Tombstone, Arizona and get poked repeatedly.
I'm wondering now. This reminds me of a story that happened to you two, where you've said repeatedly when you go somewhere and it's haunted that you need to turn around and say, "I'm leaving. You're staying here,"
Right.
and tell the whatever presence that is that you're
Not okay to follow me.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
I hope, Mark, that you did that. I
Probably
really
did.
because it sounds like that sucker was following you the whole way. If it's following you and the EMF is going off every time you get close, oh my gosh! I hope you turned around and said, "That's not okay. You're staying here.
Right.
I'm going home."
Thanks, Mark, for sharing that story. Thanks, everyone, for sharing your stories. You're awesome. We love listener feedback. We love your stories. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Now, it has been happening in the past couple episodes. People have been talking about, Tombstone, Arizona. You should check out Tombstone, Arizona.
Yeah.
Cody, he's going there for a trip. Mark was there on a trip. So I think it's time to talk about Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get any opinions in, that's going to be the next episode.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, obviously, it's also one of the best movies ever made.
Yes, that's
Tombstone
true. That's true.
With Kurt Russell.
And Bill Paxton.
Kurt Russell.
And Bill Paxton.
And
Sam Neill.
One of the
Sam
best-
Elliott. Sam Elliott, not Sam Neill.
well, also the best performance that Val Kilmer ever gave in his life.
Right.
No offense, Val, if you think you liked another role you did, but come on. Doc Holliday was probably like your best role ever. You crushed it. You killed it. It was best.
He was fantastic and a real genius.
Well, he was great as the Iceman, too. That volleyball
Wow,
game
I
was
wish we had that on video. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about Tombstone.
Yeah, that's gonna be really.
I would love to go there one day.
Yeah, I know.
I think it'd be very cool to visit.
I think it was your story, Alicia. You're talking about dragons in New
I
Zealand.
know.
I was like, what? Oh my gosh!
I know. I actually want to look into that because I'm like, that is crazy.
See, there's stuff happening all over the world.
Yeah, what were they called? I'm going back in my notes here.
Not Brujeria.
No. Hey, nice job, though.
Yeah.
Taniwa.
Taniwa.
Waha. Taniwaha. I don't know.
We probably just.
Probably.
We should never have gone back to say that again.
That's why.
Taniwa.
That's why I just said the dragons in New Zealand.
Right.
This was a fun episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening and being part of the show. Remember, you're part of the show. And list anything else on the MoMo or any of the stories we read?
No.
No on the MoMo. Oh, God. Nash.
I'm going to say yes to Moo Momo. There are Moo Momo out there, so keep your eyes open.
Dave? Oh, that's right. He's not here. I should have got him to call in from the Hollow Earth.
That's right.
That'd been awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said, fun episode. Can't wait till the next episode. And
Wait. One last thing. Do you think if there's female momos that they were moo-moos?
Oh, God.
I'm going to have to cut this out. Go to paranormalpunchers.com for all the info about us. Find links to our T-shirts. Find a link to send us a message. And remember, everybody, it's not always about Nash's puns.
Yeah.
If it's not weird.
It's not worth checking out.